Real News Radio. True, honest, and not fake news.
Okay, so we're first going to talk about the big story of this day that has come out just in the past few hours. Antifa showed up in Berkeley at a pro-Trump rally, Berkeley, California, that is. They caused a lot of trouble. Antifa did what they do best, which is cause trouble. They pepper sprayed some people. They were hitting people with sticks. They were hitting people with helmets. They were even actually hitting someone with a skateboard. A guy named Tim Pools, a journalist, was filming it, and he saw 3 M80s being thrown by Antifa into crowds of Trump supporters there at the pro-Trump rallies. So those are definitely very dangerous explosives that could easily take someone's toe off. They also threw a smoke bomb. They didn't realize, though, that the wind was actually going in their direction, so they had to retreat as they realized their mistake. But I've been seeing conflicting reports. Some are saying 4 arrests, some are saying 15 arrests. But other than that, Antifa has been saying they're gonna, bash the fash. They're gonna stop all these Nazis. They're saying to punch a Nazi. They're provoking violence, obviously. They are a terrorist organization, but magically, they believe all these Nazis are not on the left.
All the people that are against all those things that the Nazis are somehow on the right, the American right, which is very pro individual liberty and patriotic, limited government. Yep. It's amazing to me that they completely changed everything they believed just to conform to what the left considers wrong.
Yeah.
Yes. If you didn't get the sarcasm, Nazis don't believe anything that the modern right believes.
Yeah. We're being super sarcastic right now, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah. Yes. Antifa are real fascists, and they can't really find any Nazis other than, I suppose, themselves. Because I've always found this really interesting. The people calling other people Nazis are the ones who want to bring in boatloads of people from a part of the world that, correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, but I'm pretty sure that most of the Middle Eastern countries aren't really very friendly towards Jews. I could be wrong, but
I mean, there are like a lot of Middle Eastern countries that have banned Israelis from traveling to their area. So
but that just
I don't know.
I guess when it comes to the left, consistency is a social construct invented to oppress whatever insert random oppressed group.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean, because it is rather crazy that we've come to a point where the anti-fascists are the fascists. Mm-hmm. It's not like these people are calling themselves anti-fascists, but they're going out peacefully. They're demonstrating. They're saying, we don't want Nazis. They're actually going out there, and they're beating people with sticks. They're hitting people with skateboards. They're probably going to run someone over with a Prius next that they disagree with.
No, I maintain, Sean, it is impossible to run somebody over with a Prius.
That's true. I mean,
not have enough torque to get over a lump more than, squirrel size.
Well, by the time it reaches 60, you would have aged 60 years old yourself, because these cars, if you haven't noticed, they're pieces of crap. They run on plankton, it seems like. Yeah. They don't have any power. They're made out of plastic.
They run on tofu farts.
Yeah. I mean, they are the worst vehicle ever. I was talking about this with Alex.
The new ones are so ugly.
They're disturbing to look at.
It's
disturbing.
It's like if an anime an anime artist decided to design a car.
Oh, Jesus.
And then also wanted to make the car have Down syndrome.
Anime in real life, people. It was a terrifying thing I saw the other road. Like, every time I see one go by, I'm like, oh no, that poor little car. It's so sad. Then the people buy them. Oh my God. Not gonna get into that right now. But back on subject.
Now that we've alienated every person currently driving in a Prius.
Just buy a Tesla. That's all I say.
No, don't buy a Tesla.
Buy a Tesla. They're awesome. Those things go 0-60 in 2.5 seconds. That thing is amazing.
No, buy a Lotus. They are basically just as fast, and they weigh half as much.
Yeah, but they're not electric, so you aren't the cool kid on the block, you know?
Do you have any idea how horrible the batteries are for the environment, mining and developing those batteries?
Yeah, that's true, but to be fair, Tesla has made a factory in Nevada, which is supposedly eco-friendly, and it has solar panels making the whole roof up. Maybe they're
doesn't matter. You still have to mine these metals Yeah, I mean, most of the metals for the battery come from like these dirty mines in China.
That's true,
like
yeah.
you know like people just die at like 15 from lung cancer
just
for being
die.
in these, yeah, they just drop dead, and then they get more of them because China doesn't care about its people. China.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about China in a bit and all the other people in that area. But last point I want to wrap up this Antifa bit is that, like Vince said, terrorism, by definition, if you Google it, says the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in pursuit of a political aim. Isn't that what these people are doing?
Yeah, I mean,
imagine
my
shock.
Is it unlawful, Sean? Oh wait, yeah, it's like probably about 100 of them over the last year have been arrested. So it's definitely unlawful. Is it violent? Well, I mean, you can look up
beating people with sticks.
Beating people with sticks, pepper spraying people, for no reason, knocking a guy into a coma. What was that? Was Milo was supposed to be at UCLA or something?
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
Or Berkeley, or one of them.
Still Berkeley.
Universities in Cali. Rioting, setting things on fire, breaking everything, doing millions of dollars in damage to public property.
Yeah, real tolerant.
I'm pretty sure that sounds like violence to me, and it also sounds unlawful. And Sean, can you tell me if there are any possible political purposes that they could be forwarding, or are they just like they just really like unlawfully destroying things and beating people up?
I mean, I was thinking of their name, Antifa, and I was like, I don't know what that could mean. I looked up and it said anti-fascist, and I was like, that doesn't sound political to me. Moving on, Right.
No, fascism's not a political ideology. That's like it's a recipe, right? It's like a recipe for
it's not very tasty.
A really good cake or something. No, it's not. Okay.
Hitler cake.
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is, though, it's like these people, they're like, no Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. And then they're beating someone over the head. It's like, you guys do not realize, in all seriousness, how bad this looks for you guys. No. It looks terrible. If you want to make an argument, make the argument. Don't hit someone over the head with a freaking stick. Or worse. But more madness is happening in the world, I tell you right now. North Korea, they had their little parade the other day, where Kim Jong-un actually comes out and looks at his people for once. They had this parade where they showed off these 2 new intercontinental ballistic missiles in a parade, like I said, in Pyeongchang or Pyongyang. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Close enough. But they these are generally mock-ups, to be clear, but they probably have the real deal. That's what U.S. officials were saying. These missiles can, since they're intercontinental by their name, they can strike the U.S. and the EU. And this has all happened after weeks of many moves by Trump. One specific example I want to bring up that some are covering, some are kind of glossing over, is the fact that China turned away a North Korean coal ship, which doesn't sound like a big deal because people are like, oh, they banned coal from North Korea since February 2006. It's a UN sanction. But they still kept doing it. Like China has been doing with other things, they don't fully follow the rules 100%. But this was a point where they actually strictly follow the rules, and that's what the big deal about this is. But I don't think
there's another important part of this, and that is that Trump is fulfilling a campaign promise, which was to bring back American coal industry, and that's where China's getting its coal from now.
See, that is what I was saying the other day. I realized this is one of those thoughts I actually just out of the blue noticed. I was like, wait, is that why he wanted to bring back the American coal? Was it because of this? And I thought, well, maybe he doesn't, know this. I didn't even know this was a thing. So maybe he didn't consider that. But I thought, wow, this is working out a lot better than I thought. I mean, it was one of those moments where you realize that it sounds good to begin with, but some people think it's bad, like the left says bad for the environment, all that stuff, which I can understand. But this part makes it so good that I fully back it without a doubt now of bringing back coal in America. But Kim Jong-un is a madman. He's crazy. I don't know what he's going to do because he's so unpredictable. But I think we're fine. I don't think he's going to launch a nuclear strike, but at the same time, I'm applying normal logic of normal people to somebody doesn't think normally. So he could do something. If he does, North Korea is going to turn into a place of one city, a lot of internment camps, to then a parking lot in a matter of hours if he does that.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, there's no way that he's going to get away with a direct assault on either South Korea or Japan or the United States without, massive retaliation, which he definitely knows. I think he's just trying to get attention. He's like a little
Shia.
kid. Yeah, he's like a little kid. He's like Shia. He's like a little kid that, when somebody else is starting to get attention, like Assad's starting to get attention, so he's like, no, I want to be in the news. Think about it. I mean, what else does his life? I mean, he's already got all the power he could possibly want in that country.
Yeah.
He can't really expand that power without, assured destruction. So all he can do is subtweet the president and hold hold rallies and I guess
rallies. Those are his campaign rallies
parades,
right there.
Hold parades, showing off his military. And then I love when everybody turns sideways. You watch the videos and they all disappear. They just turn into lines. All these people.
Oh yeah,
so skinny.
Yeah,
because he's the only fat person in the entire country.
He's the only person that that's American in that country in the sense of his weight. Like I look at everybody there, and I'm just like, okay, skinny, emaciated, anorexic, and then you see this fat man. It's like, whoa, where'd he come from? And it's because he doesn't do anything to help his people. He doesn't care. All he cares about is his Big Mac and his little nuclear model display that he likes to play with. And I don't understand his goal in the end. Because I keep trying to think, what's his big plan here?
I think his goal is just attention. I think he genuinely just wants to make the news. Because what else could he want? If he has any semblance of understanding of the capabilities of the United States and the militaries of the rest of the world, he's not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah. He's
not going to be able to expand his actual power in any other way because he's already a completely totalitarian dictator. So all he can do is get attention from people.
Well,
that's the last rush he's got.
I think I'm going to prove your point with this breaking news we just got. North Korea launched a missile, and guess what it did? It failed. Another failed missile launch.
Wait, where?
Let me see. I'm gonna bring up some very fake news, CNN, because they have it up. Says, according to, came out of Seoul, South Korea. An attempted projected missile by North Korea on Sunday failed. A South Korean defense ministry told CNN the attempted launch occurred a day after there was the blah 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 blah. Okay, that's pointless info. Okay, basically all we know is that they launched it and it failed.
So North Korea launched it at South Korea?
That's what it sounds like.
Okay.
Let me go to the AP. They're probably a little more trustworthy. Story's still developing.
Well,
Let's go.
Somebody just got executed.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like he executes people just out of the blue. Like this, one guy just got killed. It's like
he killed his uncle.
Yeah, he killed his uncle. Yeah. It's a crazy part of the world. Okay, now Fox News.
The part of that, South Korea is basically the same people, or used to be the same people, and they're pretty reasonable. I think it's just him.
Yeah, it's true. I should be clear on that. It's just you have a madman running that country, and everybody else is starving and being forced into modern day Holocaust centers, as Sean Spicer would say. We're gonna get to that in a second. For just because in this country, if you speak out against the government, you're lucky if you get shot on the spot. If you're unlucky, you get sent to forced labor till you get shot. What?
You said in this country like it was the United States.
Oh, sorry.
In North Korea, in North Korea, you're allowed to. Yeah. We still have the First Amendment. We didn't elect Hillary Clinton. Remember, we still have the First Amendment.
Yeah, sorry. I meant in that country. Because people people here don't understand. You can go out and say basically anything today. If Antifa's in the neighborhood, you may want to be careful. But you can say anything you want today.
Yeah.
But it's like that country. People don't understand what it's like. It's a dystopia. It's a living dystopia. But Fox News has a little bit more clear headline. They said latest North Korean missile test fails. So it sounds like it might be a test. South Korean officials say. Still not enough on that yet, but that just happened live here. We're going to get off of that and we'll touch one more story real quick before we head to break in under 6 minutes. Trump launched the mother of all bombs. Yes, it is a MOAB in Afghanistan. It's the largest non-nuclear bomb ever to be dropped by the United States of America. It was dropped on an ISIS tunnel system. There were some weapon stockpiles there and some other stuff, but they blew it up. The numbers initially said 36 ISIS members were killed, but today I just checked, and they had up to 94 ISIS members killed, including 4 commandos, or commanders. I don't know if there's really a difference, but that was the casualties there. No civilians were hurt or killed yet, and the bomb, as we just fact-checked before this, cost only $170,000, so guess what? We just killed almost 100 ISIS members with a price less than a Ferrari. I think that's a pretty good deal.
I think that is definitely some good old government efficiency. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the point about that one was that there were a lot of how shall we say, liberals, leftists, morons, sharing articles on Facebook and other places about how the MOAB cost $300 million.
Yeah.
No, it is less than, or it is slightly more than 1/2000th of that.
Yeah.
So no, it did not. It actually cost a lot less than the Tomahawks, the 59 Tomahawks.
Right.
It cost less than each one of those individually. So yeah, no, it's literally just a big, like, plastic and fiberglass casing with a crap load of TNT in it. That's all it is.
And
so
it was
it's
successful.
pretty low budget, and it was quite successful.
Unlike
apparently.
Kim Jong-un a second ago. Like I imagine with Kim Jong-un, I think this was a Conan skit, I think. I think it was. Yeah, it was Conan. It was actually pretty funny. Like it was after one of his missiles failed, and it's like these 2 like Korean general guys. They're like, "Hoto, oh," they speak some sort of like Korean sort of stereotypical dialect, language, and the one guy starts running up. And then the camera zooms out, and you see one of those plastic rocket toys with the air cushion thing that you jump on to launch it. And he runs up and he steps on it. It just goes boop, and it goes like a few inches off and falls right down. And then you got Trump over here that's got this giant freaking like missile that's like orange and green, and then they kick it out the door and it.
Oh yeah. The way that they release that is they have to like it's like. They fly it on a crap. What are one of those the
bombers
planes that they launch? They drop like pallets of things out of, and they literally push it out the back. They don't have a bomber big enough to carry the thing. They just have to push it out the back of a big plane.
Well, Trump said he would bomb the blank out of ISIS, and he just bombed the blank out of ISIS, fulfilling another campaign promise. If you love it or hate it, he did what he said. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we won't have enough time to talk about this next story, but we will after the break. But basically, what's been happening, just to give sort of an overall summary, is that everybody's been flexing their muscles. There's been a lot of action, especially from Trump, that I've been a little bit surprised at times, but I think he's trying to be proactive and deal with stuff quickly and not have to get too interventionist later. So we'll see how this all pans out. But, North Korea is, I think people underestimate and overestimate that threat that the country poses. But, but I still, as much as we like to kid around with it, and which is what we've been doing for the past, 20 minutes, I like to keep it very serious, though, because at the same time, this guy could have nukes. Obviously, he can't launch a missile, so who knows how good he really is at making this stuff. But it's one of the most isolated countries in the world. And I've heard, I remember on the news, I think it was a few months ago, this kid got, arrested in North Korea because he visited there. Who would want to visit this country? Like, you see that one basketball player guy that goes there every now and then, visiting it. It's crazy. I think people should. I mean, it's like out of all the countries to go to, you go to there. You don't go to the Bahamas. You don't go to England. You don't go to Germany. Well, I wouldn't go there right now either. But you go to North Korea. It's, again, one of the craziest countries probably in existence, thanks to one crazy man. The only problem I fear is, like, let's say we take out Kim Jong-un. What's going to come next, if anything? I'm going to give you one last word, and then we're going to head to break.
Yeah, I mean, just remember it's people there. There are real people suffering under absolute tyranny, and absolute tyranny is what it is. It is not. It is not any kind of like benevolent tyrant.
Yeah.
That Kim Jong Un is. He's hurting his own people. That's
it's
unacceptable.
Tragic.
And I hope one day in the future we will see a unified Korea.
Yeah. It is really tragic because all these people are suffering all because of one guy. As we have 30 seconds left, I'm going to say one thing that everybody listening should do is Google North Korea electricity aerial map, and you'll see that Pyongyang, their capital, has this bright light, plenty of electricity, and then you see the rest of the country is completely dark. And then you zoom out to the rest of the country, the rest of the world, and you'll see that country is the oddest out spot in the world. It's so spooky to see that, but I recommend y'all seeing that. We're going to talk about a quick story, then we're going to talk about some two bigger stories. The first story, though, is the incident Spicer had recently. Very infamous example, or infamous incident. I can't use my words today. Freaking pollen. He was at a press conference talking about Assad, and he said a Hitler comparison. Now, if you know anything about Hitler comparisons, they've all been pretty ridiculous, but this one was a big screw-up. I'm probably underestimating some of these Hitler comparisons, but this one was... I was actually shocked he even said this, but here are his exact words. "We didn't use chemical weapons in World War II. You had someone as despicable as Hitler who didn't even think to using chemical weapons." And then a reporter asked in, and for a bunch of things happened, he kept trying to retract it, and he said he was not using gas on his people the same way that Assad was doing. Then another reporter asked, a whole bunch of scuffle, and he clarified, "I was trying to draw," this was actually later after that, but he said, "I was trying to draw a distinction of the tactic of using airplanes to drop chemical weapons on population center. Any attack on innocent people is reprehensible and inexcusable." Of course, CNN was freaking out. All these stations were freaking out. They're like, some people online were saying Spicer's a Holocaust denier. That is absolutely ridiculous. All he did was make a very poorly worded analogy. It was a total screw up. I mean, I understand he's got a hard job. It's probably the hardest job in Washington because he's basically in front of a firing squad for an hour and a half. And if he screws up, somebody's going to jump the gun on him and start tweeting out, Spicer said this, but...
Spicer's a Holocaust denier.
Yeah, exactly. So, CNN, I immediately said, yes, screw up, we can't defend it. But then CNN put out this headline, not making this up, this is not fake news, this is CNN's headline word for word. "Sean Spicer just forgot the first rule of politics. Never compare anything to Hitler." And guess what CNN did? Compared Trump to Hitler. Dana Bash from CNN said that Trump's promise to prosecute Clinton is like Stalin and Hitler.
Yes. Yeah, because, that's... Everybody, regardless of whether or not you agree with Trump, supported him or not, you recognized that everybody and their cousin in the mainstream media and the Democrat establishment had been comparing Trump to Hitler for the entire election. So, double standard much?
Yeah, of course. That's what's bothered me about this incident is that, like I said, that CNN headline I saw that. I was flabbergasted, but also not at the same time, because I'm like, of course they do a double standard, but they go out and compare him to Hitler. You have all these people comparing him to Hitler. You have Antifa calling all his supporters Nazis, and they're like, don't make comparisons to Hitler. It's ridiculous. Well, the only thing that's good that came out of this is that, maybe the mainstream media has convinced people that it's not a good comparison to make, because it's silly. It's silly to compare a man that rose up in Germany, which has a totally different system of government, that ran as a National Socialist under the National Socialist Party. Then later, he was in prison, first of all, for attempting a coup on the government, which is violence, if you didn't know. And he wrote a book that was clearly saying, I hate Jews, I don't like Jews, I don't like these people, I hate these people. And then he grows to power and then kills 12 million people in the Holocaust, starts World War II, and apparently that's a valid comparison to a man that's made a very successful business in real estate, not killing people, and made a successful book on how to be successful in business called The Art of the Deal, not Mein Kampf, and then went on to become president after making a successful reality TV show. There is no comparison here. I'm sorry, people. It's silly to compare a dictator, a crazy man, a socialist, to a moderate Republican businessman that just wants to make America great again.
Wait, but Sean, it's hold on.
Uh-oh.
Trump doesn't like radical Islam. Oh wait, hold on.
Wait, I don't like radical Islam.
Sean, could I be wrong here? I'm pretty sure that last time I checked, who was Hitler allied with in the Middle East? Was it the moderate, secular Muslims, or was it possibly even wasn't the Jews?
What?
Who was he allied with in the Middle East again?
Let's see. If I know my history correct, he was aligned with not only Japan, Italy, and a bunch of other countries, but he was aligned with some African countries. And I forget the Middle Eastern countries. I'm bad at this history part, so you got me on the spot. But I could imagine it wasn't any moderates. Was it Saudi Arabia?
Yes. Well, I don't know. I don't even know if those countries. My geography is not great, but I do know that Hitler did support the radical Islamist sects at the time in the Middle East and Africa as well.
Imagine my shock.
And so it's interesting that the only thing that is even remotely that is ever used to justify Trump being Hitler is something that didn't apply to Hitler.
Yeah,
like his genuine concern for defending Western values over Sharia law.
Yeah,
it's almost like absolutely every criticism that the left makes of Trump is unjustified.
Yeah, I mean, I like a valid debate with valid arguments with people that are rational and they're not jumping to, he's literally Hitler. But you hear this stuff and it just drives me nuts. And I think this is great because it now made everybody realize how stupid Hitler comparisons were, especially since
they apply way more to the left than they do the right.
Yeah. Well, because that's what's funny is people call Trump Hitler, and if you look at the policies, Hitler was anti-gun. He took them away, if you didn't know already.
High taxes.
Yeah, high taxes. He was a socialist. He believed in, redistribution of wealth.
Command economy.
A command economy, not a free market economy.
Deregulated economy. He was not a fan of free markets.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it that way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not a fan of free markets, whereas Trump is saying, hey, let's bring back coal. Hey, let's bring back jobs. Hey, let's strip red tape. Hey, let's deregulate.
Lower taxes.
Hey, yeah, let's lower taxes.
Let's keep gun freedoms and
let's
protect the Second Amendment.
Let's appoint a constitutionalist judge or justice that will support the Second Amendment. Does this sound like Hitler to you, Vince? Was he the one that wanted to ban all kinds of guns? Was he the one that was, one of his things was, we need more gun control?
Oh, yeah. There was a candidate that promised to increase taxes, increase regulations, remove gun control, and basically crack down on freedom of speech, as well as appoint legislative reviewers, Supreme Court justices that would fundamentally agree with whatever the opinion of the masses or whatever the liberal propaganda was of today. So I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't.
Was that Gary Johnson?
You're right. It was Gary Johnson. That's who it was.
Oh man, I knew it.
Gary Johnson.
Gary Johnson.
It was Gary Johnson.
What a man.
Who spent $1 billion on his campaign and still lost.
Imagine my shock of that too, to quote Paul Joseph Watson. But no, people, Hillary is the one that's more leftist, it's more socialist. We're not trying to say that she's going to start killing 12 million people and making internment camps in Kansas, but what we are saying is that when you make these comparisons, you need to look at everything.
Only Democrats would ever do that.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Oh, I'm forgetting my history. Internment camps. Those were done by FDR. And FDR was a radical right-wing Republican. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I heard he was a fascist right-wing authoritarian. Oh wait, no, he was actually
a fascist right-wing, or he was a fascist left-wing authoritarian.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, again, I don't like being the guy that makes Hitler comparisons, but if you wanted to make it, you'd make it to FDR, who's actually during World War II doing similar things. But we won the war, so I'm happy with that. But anyway, we're going to move on to this silliness of the mainstream media. Of course, that went over quickly. I mean, we knew it was just going to be a blurb in the news cycle. But the thing that people were really obsessed with, really obsessed with on social media, was the United Airlines incident, which we're going to get into in a bit. And Vince may have some differing opinions. I'll see. It could be interesting. But basically, a customer that paid for a ticket on a plane, got on the plane, got to his seat, was boarded, and the plane realized, oh crap, we don't have enough seats for our 4 staff members. The plane was completely full. There were no empty seats. And so they said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to ask everybody, can somebody voluntarily leave? We'll give you I think it was like $400 voucher. That didn't go over. And then they said, we'll give you an $800 voucher. I would have been like, oh, pick me. Because that sounds great. I mean, $800 for a flight like that.
And they'll pay for your hotel too.
Oh, crap, I didn't know that. And they'll pay for your hotel, people. So nobody volunteered at that point, which, again, of course, I'm like, pick me. But at the same time, it's understandable, especially depending on the situation you're in. But then they had to randomly select 4 people. 3 of them got off. The 4th one, the last guy, didn't. And so they had to forcibly remove him from his seat and off the plane. Now, to be clear, extremely clear, because there was some false reporting that was going out, it was not United Airlines that physically removed him. It was actually the, looking for the name right here. I'm actually losing it in my notes. I'm not well prepared here. The Chicago Department of Aviation security officers. I want to make that extremely clear. It wasn't United themselves. Like, it wasn't the pilot coming back on, like, come here, man. Like, throw him out, like,
dragging him out.
Yeah, this wasn't the movie Airplane. This was actually just, it was
Get a hold of yourself.
Yeah, it didn't go over like that. It was just the Chicago Department of Aviation security officers. Okay, so in that process, so the man was screaming. He got a concussion, broken teeth, broken nose, and of course that was captured on video because everybody's got a phone today, and people were losing it. I mean, it was obviously, you don't see that every day on a plane, unless
not.
I hope not. Is right. So they first, United Airlines said they overbooked. Then they changed it to they oversold. Now, an overbooked or overflight occurs. I can't speak today. Occurs when an airline sells more tickets than there are available seats. That wasn't technically the case because they just had no empty seats for the crew members. So that's where I think they got into their little confusion as the airline. And recently they came up with a new policy change requiring that commuting staff and crew members check into flights 60 minutes prior to departure to make sure they had seats. I want to make something very clear, though, with this. People on social media jumped on the virtue signaling bandwagon of how terrible is this? This is un-American. This is awful. This is inhumane. And I can understand it. Seeing a guy just forcibly removed from a plane like that and getting the injuries that he did, even though he did buy the ticket, it's okay. It's extreme. It's bad. They shouldn't have done that. I agree. But, and here's the big but, none of these people on social media were going, hey, let's all pay for his medical bills. Hey, let's support this guy. Hey, let's do this. They didn't want to do anything. They just wanted to go out on social media and say how disgusted they were. I don't like that attitude, because then they create this sort of moral superiority that they're in the high ground. Like, ooh, look at me. If you don't say what I say, you're an evil, crazy person. So I saw that reaction. That bothered me instantly about this incident, that people kind of use this to get social media moral brownie points. And I do not like at all when people do that. But at the same time, this situation, I think, could have been handled, obviously, a lot more humanely. But at the same time, the airline ran out of seats. They had to remove people. I get that. This man should have just said, okay, I understand. I'll take the voucher. I'll take the $800 in the free hotel, and walked off the plane. That seems reasonable to me. At the same time, if I were this man, I'd probably demand for more money back, maybe. I know I'm so greedy, but at the same, because it is an extreme inconvenience, but at the same time, you are under the United Airlines plane. This is their plane, their rules. You got to listen to what they say to a certain degree.
You signed the terms of conditions even if you didn't read them.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you think they were justified?
No, they legally had the right to do what they did. That's the bottom line. They legally had the right to do what they did.
Right.
Now, next question is, was it an economically feasible position to take? So there's two possibilities for what they could have done. First is the one that they did. They forcibly removed the guy who back, right?
Right.
Second one is they could have kept upping the price that they offered, because eventually somebody's going to take it. I mean, wherever you're going, I mean, to a certain point, there's probably one person on that plane that would, even if it means losing their job, it would be worth it for them to get, like, I don't know if they upped it to $1,200 or $2,000 or maybe $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and just keep upping it. And I'll get to a point, you might think it's absurd. Look, go to $1 million. Oh my gosh,
absolutely.
that's $1 million.
They have the money.
That's probably 10 years of income for some of the people on that plane easily. Yeah. So, but you say, oh, well, that'd be ridiculous. That the company couldn't afford that.
No, they could.
The company could afford that. You know why they could afford that? Because I just looked it up, and their stock dropped 4% because of this whole incident.
Yeah.
4% for that company is equivalent to reducing the value of the company by $770 million.
Oh, wow. They could have had up to $770 million.
Yeah, that exactly. You're right, Sean. They could have offered $770 million to a person on that plane to get off, and it would have been economically the exact same result for them as a company. So clearly, somebody made the wrong decision. So it was not the right decision. Legally, they had the right to do it.
Yes.
And there's no point in virtue signaling, saying like, "Oh my gosh, this is just what a world we live in, where companies are allowed to do that."
Capitalism is so evil.
Yes, evil capitalism. No, they didn't even apply capitalism correctly.
Yeah.
If they would have applied capitalism correctly, then they could have increased the price, and they made an economically moronic decision by forcibly removing. Because even if he didn't get beat up, even if he didn't get like, if nobody got a video of anything, they forced somebody to leave the plane.
Yeah.
And of course he's going to get on social media, and it wouldn't have been really as bad, but it probably would have resulted in, like, at least his family members going, I'm never going to fly United again.
Yeah.
And that's income lost for them that they probably could have easily retained by just increasing the price that they were offering the people to miss the flight.
Yeah.
And so that was just an economically illiterate decision on the plight of United, on the part of United Airlines. So that is my feeling on it. Once again, justified, still the wrong decision. Or not justified, as it was allowable. It was legally.
Yeah, it was legal, but not right.
Yes.
And not smart. I think that's actually an extremely good point that I have not heard brought up yet. That is a really good point, because they already upped it from like 400 something to
800. So clearly
to 800.
Do that.
Yeah, they already jumped. I mean, they could have made it like a freaking auction house, but like, I have 800 right here. Go, once get 800. Blah,
and then,
blah,
and then
blah,
if you have 5
blah,
people to leave, that want to leave the plane, then you start lowering the price. Yeah. Like, no, okay, I'll take 700. Oh no, I'll take 650.
Dude, this could be great business. It would have been that would have been a viral video in itself.
Yeah, and that would have been so great for United. Like oh my gosh, I want to get a flight on United. They give away free money.
Yeah, I mean, everybody likes
probably would have got a
handouts.
stock bump from that.
Yeah, I mean, they could have taken that advantage of that situation so well, but they didn't. Like I said, like I give the auction house example. Like they could, if they had a guy there that was from an auction house, they would have been like, "Hey, sir, you want to come up and do your auction house thing?" Like I can't. Yeah, they literally could have gone. I was trying to imitate, but I can't imitate well enough. So you could have given a guy some fame right there.
Got 800. Can I get a 900?
Yeah.
900.
Oh, I'll take it.
900.
You have like number cards you hold up. There's like all. It's by seat.
Yeah, your ticket, like your boarding pass. Like, oh, I got a.
Yeah, they could have so much fun with that. You could have everybody getting in on it. Then you'd have so many people willing to do it, and it would have gone over smoothly. Somebody would have some money in their pocket, and they'd be happy. And entertainment.
And your stock would not have dropped 4% in $770 million.
Yeah, it was so stupid by them. They created all this massive backlash. They made people virtue signal. Like, what could be worse? It was terrible.
I mean, like, and the bad press that they've gotten from this is probably worth, is probably even more of a cost to them than the devaluation of their stock, because now forever. I've never even heard of United Airlines, but forever I will remember that they were the ones that dragged the guy off the plane and beat him up.
Yeah, I know, because like I was just watching
economic decision.
Yeah, like I was just watching Casey Neistat's vlog, who's a big Hillary supporter, but he was like, and he flies everywhere, and like he was just on a United flight on that day, and he like turned to the one guy there. He's like, I'm never flying this United ever again. I'm like, that's exactly the problem, is that people have that quick emotional reaction of, I'm never going to do this again. I'm never going to support them again. And that's what happened. It was an incredibly dumb move on their part. Yes, like you said, it was allowable, but it was dumb and it was not right. This guy got, of course, I think he was acting, I know it's a little traumatic to be dragged off a plane, but he was screaming a little louder, I think, that you should have been. I mean, you watch the video, it's a little...
Back on the plane. That's like the dumbest part of the whole story. It's like, you already beat the guy up. Like, why would you let it back on the plane?
Yeah.
Like, that's just, that's going to be worse for you.
Oh, God, it was terrible. But, that's probably going to quiet down in a few days. There's probably going to be a few more legal battles. Like, they have their lawyer do a press conference and all that. But we'll see how that goes. And then in the end, United loses.
That's definitely probably going to be like a $30 million settlement to him. So that'll put it up over $800 million.
They could have given a guy $1 million, and they still would have, lost way more money if they hadn't just given it away.
Mm-hmm.
It's silly in the end. But in these last 7 minutes or so, we're going to talk about something that's even worse than that. Probably the worst news of the week.
Poor economic decisions.
This is the poorest economic decision. How would you like to live in a cabin all alone in Finland with a live stream in a museum of modern art to pretentious people and trolls to track you down and submit you to 4chan anime? Well, that is what Shia has done. Of course, I'm joking right there, but Shia has started after his "He Will Not Divide Us" failure. I thought it was a success though, because we saw the Trump scores go out.
In the amount of people that got entertainment out of it, was probably a lot higher than he thought it was going to be.
I thought
their entertainment was certainly at his expense.
Oh, it was hilarious. That stream was one of my favorite. I'm gonna remember that so well. It's like my favorite thing of the Trump presidency.
Tell my kids about that.
Hey kids, look at this. There were Pepe's and Shaddy, like some other funny people on here. I mean,
this is why you don't try to virtue signal when you're dumber than everybody else.
Yeah, Shia just makes him look like an idiot, because people when he set up that camera, it started off with people his cult followers in New York going, "He will not divide us."
If you're not aware, quick rundown. So at first, what Shia LaBeouf did was he decided that Trump is such a divisive character that what he's going to do is run a live stream for 4 years for his entire presidency with a camera right outside the
museum in New
Museum
York,
of Modern Art or something.
It's a modern art museum that nobody goes to.
Yeah, it's some other it's not MoMA, but it's a different modern art museum, and people would just show up and say whatever he will not divide us to the live stream. And then what happened was people thought this was a little bit pathetic and hilarious, and so they went to troll it and
successfully.
They drank milk and other things that are they basically mocked the left constantly on this live stream so bad that Shia LaBeouf took it down and moved it to where is it?
Albuquerque,
New Mexico.
Yeah, New Mexico.
And moved it
Where
to
Walter
New
White
Mexico.
is.
Moves the live stream to New Mexico and just points it at a flag, so nobody's just he will not divide us. in the
Wait,
flag.
that was in Tennessee. He first actually, it's a complicated story with a little Shy right here in the past couple months. He started in New York. People trolled it so hard. He felt humiliated that he took it down for like a couple days. They pulled it back up again. And then the museum got pissed off and they said we can't have it here anymore. So then he moved it to Albuquerque, and then somebody got shot in the vicinity.
What?
Yeah, like it was not related to the stream, but like somebody got shot like near it. So they decided, oh, we gotta turn it off again, and then they moved it to where you said with the flag. Yeah.
Okay, so they moved it there, and 4chan found it, and so this. If you're not familiar with what 4chan is, it's a bunch of
anime
people, unemployed, very intelligent people on a message board.
Yeah,
it just exist for the sole purpose of torturing Shia LaBeouf. And they found this stream. I believe what they did was they checked like airline history and checked like the trails of the airplanes through the sky
on the maps.
On maps to find out, pinpoint exactly where this stream was, and then they had a guy drive around the area honking his horn until they could hear it on the live stream. And then so when they found it, they took the flag down and replaced it with like a Pepe flag and a Trump hat.
A Trump hat and like a Pepe like shirt, but it was basically a flag.
And so
hilarious.
That was that one done. That was that stream.
That was
divided.
season 3.
Yeah, that was season 3. Right now, what is it? Now go into the.
Well, then season 4 was the other flag that they put in Liverpool during.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh,
and it was during the London attacks. And it was during the London attacks, and they found it and they took it down again within like 24 hours.
Yeah.
And now he's set up a cabin in Finland, and he actually gave the location. That's what I'm telling you. He wants people to find him in Lapland, Finland, with 2 other artists. Put that in quotes, not really artists. And they put these all over in Lapland, Finland, and they're living in these cabins remotely. There's a live stream to the cabin that's linked to a stream in a museum in Finland, where you can go into the literal cabin in the museum, look at Shia, and text to him. That's the only communication he has is through text. It's been closed the past 2 days because of the obvious Good Friday on Friday and the Easter weekend. So we gotta wait for a while for it to come back on. But already somebody dressed in a Pepe mask ran in there, kind of like snuck around, and because there are security guards there now, he's thought this through.
What?
And so, he sneaks in. It's hilarious how he comes in, and then he runs and tries to get into the cabin, but the guard stops him right at the door, and he tries to walk away, but he like stops him again, and he rips his mask off.
That's hilarious.
And I don't know how true this is. I think it is, but apparently Shia plagiarized a tweet. Because you could see, like, in the live stream, online, it shows you the responses going back and forth. And apparently the thing he said, he plagiarized a tweet that was by a furry. So it's like 4chan within 4chan within 4chan. It's 4chanception going on. We only have one last minute here to talk about this silly absurdity. But Shia's just still trying to be the attention-seeking failure that he is.
Give up, Shia, if you're listening to this. Give up.
Yeah.
You will not win.
Hashtag Shia divide us. He will not divide us. But it's called
He's gonna end up in a mental hospital at the end of this.
Well, he did get raped, so he may have, seriously, like he may have some screwed up, things going on in his head.
I mean, nobody's that dumb. Like, we make fun of him for being dumb. Like, he's got some serious issues. I feel bad for the guy.
I do.
I mean, it's like one of those special kids that keeps trying to make friends, and then you're just like, go away. You're just gonna keep getting used by the jerks on 4chan.
Yeah, he's such a tool to 4chan, but it's called #alone together. It's I know it's sad, isn't it? But it's not. It's strong. But at least he's not calling it stronger together. So there is benefits of this. But at the same
Weaker
time,
together.
Yeah. I'm gonna get that hashtag trending, people. But final thoughts on this is just his silliness is gonna keep going. 4chan is already trying to track him down with the wood in the background. They're like looking at Airbnb.
But they found it though.
They claim they did, but now they haven't gotten people out there to check it. But apparently they think they found him in an Airbnb cabin, and so they're gonna go out there and like have like a. They said they're specifically gonna have a woman because they think she'll get in there to check it out. But anyway, I have to end this quickly. Sorry I can't give you the last thought, but this has been the Line 90.7 FM. Keep your eyes out for Shia because 4chan's going to track him down and do something to him. I don't know what. This has been Real News Radio. Look out for Shia and stay safe and stop reading fake news. We'll see you next week.